The law of recognition says this. It says that everything you need is near you, merely waiting on your recognition of it. Everything you need is near you, merely waiting on your recognition of it. In my book, The Symphony, A Guide to Creating and Balancing Multiple Streams of Income, I talk about how to use your gifts, talents, and skills to create increments. In a musical symphony, you have instruments, and if you play each instrument at the right time, they will make one beautiful sound. But in your business symphony, you have increments, and increments are businesses that make money. And if you apply each one at the right time, then they can make one beautiful bank account, one beautiful wealthy, portfolio. And so it's in you identifying the things that you naturally are and the things that are around you that are available to you. This has manifested in my life over and over and over again. And as I work with people all across the globe, whether it be celebrities, whether it be single moms, whether it be stay-at-home mothers, people in the military, the one thing that I am realizing that is consistent across the board is recognizing that which you already have. Okay? So maybe you have the gift of gab. Maybe it's talking that's going to get you to the next level. Maybe you have the gift of organization. Maybe it's being an operations manager or putting together a system for someone else that's going to make you invaluable to their business. Perhaps you have a talent, whether it be singing or dancing or acting or doing voiceover or writing or creating or composing. What you have to do next in order to achieve what it is that you have to achieve is right there, merely waiting on your recognition. Now, what's also there is you making a decision and recognizing the things that you don't need. It is recognizing something that is in your life that may be blocking you, causing you harm. And you may have tried all these years to figure it out. You have been battling, you have been wrestling, and every time you encounter this person, place, or thing, then you find yourself with your energy depleted. You find yourself feeling depressed, confused. Then I am saying to you that the law of recognition also says that what you need to do to get to the next level is near you, waiting on your recognition. And when are you going to recognize that there are people in your life who are draining you? When are you going to recognize that there are people in your life who can also help you? When are you going to recognize that if you have a problem trusting people, then guess what? No one will ever trust you, because nobody can do life alone. And when you make a decision, or you see, the law of the mind will tell you, I can't trust anybody. Well, here's the deal. Who is it that you don't trust? Is it really you? Because I find when you can't trust anybody, it's that you don't trust yourself to set boundaries. You don't trust yourself to back out if you're so far in, because you might be thinking, well, I don't trust anybody because if I hire them, if I let them in my life, then they're going to know so much. And we'll set some limitations. Set some boundaries, give people some milestones, talk to people about non-negotiable principles. These are the things in my life or my business or whatever it is that I am allowing you into. These are the things that I will not tolerate. And these are the consequences that I will deploy if you cross those lines. But let me tell you something. That requires a plan. That requires a strategy. And this requires that you take control over what it is that you want. I said before, speak what you seek until you see what you say. Speak those things that are not as though they were. My friend MC Light always says, everybody wants to help me. And guess what? I came along and helped her and helped her take the business to a whole nother level. And many other people did as well. What is it that you need to say? What is it that's right there near you, merely waiting on your recognition? I'll tell you what happened to me right before the pandemic. I was at a place in my life, in my career, where I just kind of wanted to retire and almost do nothing. The entertainment business had been extremely, let me just say, challenging. I had done a lot. I had helped a lot of people, and I was just flat out tired. And I really didn't want to do anything else. I was even thinking about packing up, moving home to Chicago and just sitting and looking outside for a year or two. I don't know what I was going to do, but I didn't want to do this anymore. And I kept feeling a nudging in my spirit. Some of you call it your conscience. Some of you call it your gut. I call it the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit kept saying to me, listen, there is something, you got to do something. You have all these classes, all these books. Everybody needs this information that you have. And let me tell you something. I cried tears. I cried tears coming out my eyes and my nose. Y'all know what that is. Let me tell you, I was wet my whole face. And my husband looked at me, and after I got through crying, he did not rescue me. He said, what's wrong? I said, there's something I need to do. He said, well, you got to do it because people are waiting on you. And I had all of this material. I had all of these classes from decades. And so what I didn't know is that the pandemic was coming, that a quarantine was coming. And guess what? I took everything that I had and I recognized it. And now it's working for me, and it can work for you. If you need help, go to asklynn.org. Bankruptcy is not the end of the world. I have gone through bankruptcy not once, but twice. I helped a lady with 4 bankruptcies and 2 foreclosures overcome her credit issues. She got into a house with a low interest rate and a low down payment, and she was able to rebuild her life and become financially free. So if I can do it, if she can do it, you can too. Here's a few things that you need to know about bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is what wealthy people use to preserve wealth. Let me repeat. Bankruptcy is what wealthy people use to preserve wealth. Wealthy people will say, my cash flow is going to be down to $500 million in the next 6 months. So I need to reorganize. I need to take advantage of the laws so that I do not lose all of my wealth. Poor people think that bankruptcy came from Satan. They think bankruptcy is bad. So by the time broke people and poor people get to the bankruptcy court, broke was 27 stages ago. You have gone through your savings, your 401k, you have maxed out your credit cards, you've gone through all the equity and all of your assets like your real estate, and now there's nothing left. You get to the bottom of the barrel, and bankruptcy is the only choice that you have. You do not need to be afraid of bankruptcy. Now, am I telling everybody to go file bankruptcy? Absolutely not. The last time I filed bankruptcy, I was resolved and I was repentant and I was humble, and I said, what do I need to do differently? So when I filed that bankruptcy, I got rid of all the debt. I did not keep any of the debt because I didn't want to be selective about which debt I was going to keep. But if you need to file bankruptcy, do not be confused, because let me help you understand this. First of all, if they are coming to get your car, right, and you have been hiding your car in your cousin Pookie's garage, you might need to go on and file bankruptcy, because if they come and repossess your car, they're still going to want the money. Now, if you didn't have the money to pay for the car when you could drive it, how are you going to pay for the car when you don't have the car and you can't drive it? So if you are being threatened with a repossession, you might need to think about filing bankruptcy. If your bill collectors are calling you from 1722, okay, 200 years ago, you thought they were gone, you thought they forgot, but they did not, they are popping up again, you just might need to file bankruptcy. If they are coming to foreclose on your house, if someone is threatening you with a garnishment or judgment, then you may need to think about filing bankruptcy. Don't let the hammer fall down on you and then have to try to recover. One of my dear friends, God rest her soul, she filed bankruptcy before she ever made a late payment. She contacted me. She said, Lynn, listen, things are not going well. I have been robbing Peter to pay Paul. I've been using the money off of this credit card to pay that credit card, getting money from this credit card to pay that credit card, and I am no longer going to be able to balance any of this at all. So before she ever made one late payment, she filed bankruptcy, and guess what? Her credit scores went up from the 700s to the 800s. Because here's the deal. The bankruptcy itself does not make your credit score go down. It's all the things that happened prior to the bankruptcy. It's the late payment on the car, the late payment on the mortgage, the late payment on the credit cards, the late payment on your installment debt. That is what makes you go into a bad credit score situation. It's the judgment, it's the collection, it's the medical bills, it's the things that actually hit your credit report that make your credit score drop, not the bankruptcy itself. If you think you're never going to be able to get a good job, if you think you're never going to be able to recover, if you think you're never going to be able to do anything after bankruptcy, let me tell you something. Those are all myths. First of all, look at the person who's run this country, right? So bankruptcy is not something that will block you from doing the things that you want to do. As a matter of fact, you can get a bankruptcy and you can file a petition, a Chapter 13, and you can buy a house in a year. You can buy a house in 2 years, depending on what kind of bankruptcy you just filed. You can get a car. You can rebuild your life after bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is not the end of the world. Do not believe the hype. Do not let people tell you that it can't be done. Get knowledge, get educated, join my class, How to Bounce Back After Bankruptcy and Build Wealth. I'll see you in class.